All right, hello everybody. This is a comparison between two very different Luke Skywalker lightsabers. Both of these lightsabers come from different companies. Both of these lightsabers have different internal parts. The reason this video is being made is because one of these lightsabers is being touted as the world's most realistic lightsaber on YouTube ads. And I own this lightsaber. I don't feel the same way. So we're going to talk about both of these lightsabers. And I'm going to give you my opinions on both of them. I'm going to let you know what I think. And let you know some places that I would buy from. Because there's a lot of different lightsaber producers out there. And these things can get expensive really quickly. We have both of these lightsabers side by side. So now we can do a pretty good comparison between the two. The lightsaber on the right, or the top, this is a Profi lightsaber from Vader's Sabers. This is the Dark Hero 3 V2. This cost me $400 with a 5% discount. The lightsaber on the left is a Xeno V3. This is a Luke Skywalker Episode 6 lightsaber from Arch Sabers, and this cost me $260. By and large, both of these lightsabers do the exact same thing. They make pretty colors, and they make great sounds. The difference between these two, though, is the electronics on the inside. So, what does Xeno V3 and Profi mean? Well, if you buy a Profi lightsaber, you're getting the best board available at this time, I believe. I believe that's fair in saying. I don't know if there's any others. Feel free to comment down below if I'm wrong, but Profi lightsabers are very, very good. They're very customizable. You have to know some coding. You have to learn how to use Arduino to change things on your lightsaber. But it gives you more options and more customizability, I feel, than a Xeno V3. The Xeno V3 is good for a number of reasons. Number one, it's $150 cheaper than a Profi. At least in this comparison, this is $260. This is $400. This is customizable through an app called Xeno Configurator, so you don't have to mess around with coding to figure out how to use your lightsaber. You can change colors, change fonts, change music tracks. You can do everything, even software updates through the app, which I think is really cool. The only reason mine can't do that is because it's not Bluetooth. There are Profi lightsabers out there with Bluetooth, so if that's something you want, you're going to have to look for it. I didn't. I thought Bluetooth came on all of them, so that was me being not intelligent and not researching this far enough. What made me purchase the Profi and prefer it over the Xenopixel? Number one, this is just more accurate to what I remember from Luke's lightsaber in the film. This has more going for it than this does. This feels more real. This feels like a Party City lightsaber prop. And number two, the other reason, is because Profi lightsabers are the only lightsaber boards on the market that can replicate the rotoscoping effect from the original trilogy. You cannot get that on a Xeno V3. You can get effects that are close, but they don't go fast enough to even replicate the rotoscoping effect. So right out of the gate, if you want an accurate blade flicker, you're looking at minimum, a Profi. All right. Well, let's talk about some of the physical differences here. Because although to the casual observer, these look like the same lightsaber, I can assure you they're completely different. All right, if we look at the emitter cups on both of these lightsabers, they're completely different. Okay? The emitter cup on the Xeno V3 lightsaber has angled edges. I think it's called chamfer. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the edges go up and then in at an angle. There's no version of Luke's lightsaber that is like this. This is more in line with Obi-Wan Kenobi's, which does lend to the confusion I have. It's like, what is this lightsaber trying to replicate here? I don't understand. The emitter cup on the Profi, it's very angular, very, very sharp. This is exactly how it looks in film. Now, you can get this lightsaber in a Xeno V3 if you wanted to, but I'm just pointing out, I'm differentiating them by saying this is a Xeno V3, this is a Profi. It'll be easier that way. But you can get both of these. I don't think you can get this one in Profi. I wouldn't, but you can definitely get this one in a Xeno V3. Moving down, the brass thin neck here. Not really a difference. I think even these thin necks are the same diameter, just looking at them. I don't have a caliper to accurately determine that. I'm just guessing. I do know that the fatter part of the thin neck, they are not the same thickness. These are different. And also the paint job as well. This is more of a plated chrome. This is more of a brushed brass look here. Now, getting down to the grenade grips is really where we start to notice some differences. So on the Xeno V3, the edges are very symmetrical. They're concise. They're the same. They're the same width, length, everything going up. On the Profi, however, they're not the same. I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but some rings are fatter than others. That is accurate to the film. Then we get down to the control box. I don't have a lot to say except the Xeno V3 here. It looks awful. It doesn't look good at all. In fact, actually, this whole assembly here, this whole thing is just a sleeve. It's just a sleeve with that box on it. You unscrew the pommel and you can take it off. In fact, the listing on Artsaber's website actually shows this with a Graflex clamp, not a control box. So I would feel better about this if this had a clamp on it, because it would be closer to Obi-Wan's lightsaber. And then these angles would make sense, because Obi-Wan's lightsaber had some angles like this, but it didn't have a control box like that. These buttons don't do anything. These arrows don't do anything. There are no electronics inside here. There's nothing. It doesn't do anything. The Profi, however, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Now, the buttons do light the lightsaber up. The arrows, they light up as well. There are individual diodes inside there to light this whole thing up. The only problem I have with this is this rail right here. This should be more of a brass. It's showing up to me like a silver. It's very muted gold, but it should be brass. It should be noticeable. It should be very noticeable. Now, rotating both of these lightsabers up to see the PCB cards. Again, this lightsaber makes this one look like a Party City prop. I'm just going to say that right now. Both of these cards are removable. You remove this Xeno V3's card to find a buttonhole where there's no electronics inside this right now, and a spring to keep some tension on the PCB card while it's inside of this rail. Removing the Profi PCB card, you can see some electronics inside here. This is not what you're going to see when you get yours. I did this. I took a spare clamp card from here and put it in, sanded it down, put it inside here, glued a little circuit board component from an old Xeno V3 I had, and put it inside here to replicate the Cave Saber. I may do some more work. I'd love to put some more detailing here, but that'll come later. But underneath, there are electronics in here. There are lights. There are diodes in there. And there's even a kill switch, which this lightsaber does not have. So, there's that. And again, the buttons on the side of the Profi activate the saber. The buttons on the side of the Xeno V3 don't do anything. And now we come down to the pommel. Now, the pommel on the Xeno, you can see it's got these drilled holes in here to vent some sound and still have it be closed off, somewhat like the actual prop. The Profi, on the other hand, this is one of 2 pommel caps you will get. This is the one for vented sound, which does sound pretty good. And the D-ring is more acceptable. This is more in line with what we see in the film. Moving the Xenopixel out of the way, I want to talk about some of the inclusions you get with the Profi. So, in your box for your Profi, you will get a few things. You will get the lightsaber. You will get the flat emitter cup here. You will get the blade plug, a display stand, a plugged pommel, a Last Jedi pommel, or hilt emitter cup, and then what I'm calling the Lego emitter, right? And you'll see why when I put this thing on it, why I call it the Lego emitter, but this is basically an emitter that you can use to get some more grip on your blade. Looking at this lightsaber, inside of here, I would say where the tip of my stylus is, to about right here. That's all the blade grip you're going to get. That's about 1 inch. It's not a lot. Now, if I remove this emitter cap, all right, you will see right here, there's a screw. And then on the other side, there's a screw. There's only 2 Allen screws here, M4 screws, holding this lightsaber in place. So that's not a lot. But there are 2 more ports symmetrically on either side that are not drilled, that I may consider actually drilling and tapping and rethreading. Because I want to be able to use the flat emitter on this thing. And I think having 4 screws is going to allow me to do that, because it'll be tensioned from all around. The blade plug also looks really good. I know I don't have any emitter cup on there, but the blade plug looks really nice. This is really good. It's even got a little hole in there. I love that. One thing to note about this is the fact that the threads for the Allen screws are inside of the emitter cup. So what that means, basically, is you put on the cup you want. The Allen screws holding the blade in are hidden underneath the emitter cup. I love that. I love that detail. It's really good. Adds to the authenticity of this. It's not even close. So, final thoughts about this. Profi is better. The Vader Saber's Dark Hero is better. It's just better. This is just... It looks like a Ruby's plastic prop compared to this. It doesn't look that great. You know, if this was the only lightsaber I had, I'd be okay with it. But now that I have this, I'm seeing how bad this is. But the Xeno V3 gives you app control, while the Profi doesn't. You can still change your blade profiles through the lightsaber. You know, there are gesture controls that allow you to do everything that the app does on this. But having the ease and the simplicity of just having an app to do everything for you, there's a lot to be said for that. I think the sound is better on the Profi. The lights are better on the Profi. Also with the Vader Saber's lightsaber, the core. Okay, this is interesting. So the core on my Vader Saber's lightsaber, it did not come with a thumb screw to take out the core. I don't know why. But it just didn't. A little bit frustrating. Especially when you're paying $400, you're missing stuff, as well as it arrived with the SD card corrupted, so I had to get the files from them to properly be able to use my lightsaber. And Art Sabers isn't off the hook either, because they shipped me a lightsaber without a battery, which then caused problems down the line. And I ended up ordering a spare battery from a different company, put the battery in backwards, and blew up the circuit board. Now, Art Saber's customer support was cool enough to send me a new core. That'll be arriving in the next couple of weeks. And Vader Saber's customer support was upfront with me about everything. Very, very cool. Honestly, good experience on both sides. I will say. My opinion is not soured here. I genuinely believe, these are good. And if you're going to buy a lightsaber in the States, make sure they have US-based customer support. Vader Sabers, they do have US-based customer support. So it does still ship from China. So don't think that you're ordering from the US. It will ship from China, but it'll only take a week to get there. DHL Express is really good about getting these lightsabers to you on time. Both of these came within a week, and they came from China. So, do with that what you will. I would say I ordered these on a Monday, and they arrived the following Tuesday. So about a week and a day. So, not bad. Considering, because the DHL operates on the weekends too. FedEx and UPS. It's hit and miss. Final thoughts. If you have the money, get the Profi. If you don't have the money and you want something affordable that will do most of what this does, get a Xeno V3. But do not buy this format. If you want the world's most accurate Luke Skywalker lightsaber, you're going to want this. Right? All of those ads saying this is the lightsaber that they're holding when they say that. I've seen Ruby's Supreme costume lightsabers that are more accurate than this. So I feel like they're false advertising, but I digress. So if it's not interesting whatsoever, I will not do these videos, but I may do something else. But yeah. Oh, this has been JB Scurvy, and I'm going to go play some Battlefront now, if you don't mind. I've got other things to do than continue talking about these lightsabers. So I will see you on the next video, whichever video that is. If you like this video, like and subscribe.